Hey, what's up guys? Are you guys thinking about buying the neutral density filters for your Osmo Pocket 3 and wondering if it's worth it for you? Right now I'm shooting at 4K 30 frames per second at a shutter speed of 1/60. I am using the ND16 filter. So as you can see, this is the tonal range of the ND16 filter. Let me show you what's in front of me, and let me blow out the sun if I can. So this is in front of me. Now I'm pointing at the sun with the ND16 filter. Let me get this back to me now. Now you can see the tonal range is pretty decent in terms of the highlights and the shadows, but once I take off the ND16 filter, watch what happens. This is a little bit tricky to get off because it's very magnetic. So you can see without the ND16 filter, it's quite blown out at 1/60 shutter speed, or 1/60th of a shutter speed. Now let me show you the footage in front of me. Pretty much you can't see anything when the sun is out. So let me turn this back on, and what I'm going to do is actually get the ND64 filter and show you that as an example. So previously had the ND16, now I'm putting the ND64 filter, and now you can see it's a little bit darker. Of course I can correct this in post-production in Premiere Pro, which is usually what I use for my Osmo Pocket 3. And let me show you the video or the footage in front of me. Let me point this towards the sun up there. So you can see the ND64 is a little bit better when the sun is right in front of the lens. And let me turn this back. So let me just put the ND16 on because this is a little bit too dark right now. So I'm gonna take off the 64. And I'm going to put on the ND16. So with the ND16 filter, the filter works pretty good for not having blown out footage, as you can see, but usually I use ND64 while I'm vlogging in sunlight, and it works pretty good. Usually I haven't had to use the ND256, but let me put the ND256 on and see how that looks. So getting these filters on and off is a little bit annoying. So now I have the ND256 on. The exposure is decent. Now let me see what happens when I point this at the sun. Okay, so this is the ND256 filter at 1/60 seconds shutter speed. And you can see it does a pretty good job with not blowing out the sun. But as I was saying, the ND16 or the 64 is usually what I use. Maybe the 32 is better. The DJI brand doesn't have an ND32 at the moment for the Osmo Pocket 3, so you need to get a third-party brand. Let me just get this ND16 on so you guys can see me a little bit better. So now I have the ND16 filter on. The one annoying thing about the neutral density filters of the DJI brand is that they sometimes get stuck when you're powering off the device, or like the gimbal kind of like slams against itself when it's rotating with the ND filter on. So sometimes it is better to buy the third-party ND filters because they're thinner and you can shut off the Osmo Pocket 3 with the filter on. And since these filters are magnetic, they're stackable, so you can still stack like 16 plus the 64 plus the 256 on top of each other. Overall, you do need an ND filter to make sure you don't get blown out footage if you're vlogging outside in the sun or on a sunny day. Even when it's cloudy sometimes with an overcast, I do see blown out footage without an ND filter. Keep in mind this video is being recorded at 1/60 shutter speed. The other option is if you don't want to use an ND filter, you can just set your exposure to automatic, but I'm not too sure if you'll like the footage. The Pocket 3 will automatically decide what the shutter speed is. See, now this footage is being shot at auto exposure, so the Pocket 3 is automatically adjusting the shutter speed. So in this scenario, you don't need a neutral density filter, but you may not be happy with the footage with the variable shutter speed. Let me actually back up and take a look at the sun here and see how this does with the auto exposure. So it does a pretty good job with the auto exposure, adjusting the shutter speed so the footage is not blown out. So overall, you can still get away with not using an ND filter if you're okay with using a variable shutter speed. And if you guys enjoyed this video, you know what to do. And as always, live easy, sleep breezy, and stay lovely.